Okay, so welcome back to part three of the series with Alan Aragon. Basically, we've done part one and two covering off some of the myths of nutrient timing, diet myths, and covering off and putting some context, hopefully, in your thinking. What we're hoping to do now is just basically round it off and I guess get the message across once and for all to people about how they should be approaching diet and training. So we're just going to have a group discussion now, I guess, and just talk things through. And if Robbie has any questions and if Alan's got any points he wants to bring across, now's the time. We're going to close this off properly. So, Alan, if you had one message to the average layperson, and the most important message to the average layperson, what would it be?
The average layperson, well, if you want to raise your testosterone, then don't fap so much.
That's gold.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first, exactly. So,
but seriously, yes, yeah. But seriously, for the average layperson, there's no one size fits all prescription. So if somebody says that you got to do keto in order to reach your ultimate physique goals or performance goals, and to just run the opposite direction. Somebody says, you got to do, high carb, low fat, and any time somebody universalizes a prescription for any given goal, that they're just kind of a guru, and it's time to just sort of shut it off as far as listening to what they have to say, because highly individual.
That includes that magic number, 1,200 calorie mark for females, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
There's no way you can actually, prescribe that to every single female, regardless of their body mass composition.
Yep.
Stuff like that. So.
Yep, for sure. And anybody who says that calories don't matter, that's another red flag.
Right. That's You've heard that here first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything for athletes, Robbie?
No, I think we ran it all up.
Yeah.
I'm pretty satisfied.
Yeah. So, what about for athletes? If you had one message for athletes, what would you put out to them?
Yeah, the message for athletes, I would say find a coach or a group of coaches who value science and research, because there are a lot of coaches out there who value magic and imagination and their own egos. So make sure your coach is science-based. And then you'll be starting from a solid platform from which to make individual adjustments. It's a minefield out there. People are just in danger. It's tough. It's tough.
And something I know we touched on a personal level when we met at your seminar. Something I brought up was how we get some people, because no one can track 365 days a year, right? So
yeah.
How do you get someone who's not all that interested in tracking to move away from meal plans and move towards flexible dieting?
Yeah, that's a good question. And one of the things that I've seen work consistently well in practice is tracking protein, or just having an awareness of your total daily protein allotment. And the rest of the program can be pretty flexible because the body will tend to take care of itself in a lot of situations. So you would make sure you're getting enough protein, but you would also, in essence, be aware of what's going on with body weight, with performance, with how clothing is fitting, etc., whatever the goal might be. But you're only tracking the minimum required element, which would be protein. So, and if you need to track more than that, if you find that that's not quite working as well as you need it to work, well then go ahead and start tracking the other stuff. But that would be the minimum, and sometimes that minimum works for people and it doesn't stress people out who don't necessarily want to track everything.
Yeah, we don't exactly want to build an OCD army full of people.
And the name of that method, I have to give credit to Luke Johnson. He calls it the protein semi-track.
I like that.
Yeah, he does that.
I like that. The protein semi-track.
Yeah. Luke Johnson. Big up, big Luke Johnson.
There you go. We've had 2 shout-outs now in the series of interviews. Look, let's talk a little bit about your book and
okay.
your website. So you've recently released a book. You obviously had girth control a long time ago now.
Mm-hmm. I still do have a bit of girth control despite my age.
Right. I love it. I love it. Don't we all? So, so now that you've released your new book, The Lean Muscle Diet, right? That's all obviously along these lines and everything that you've put out so far. Can you tell us a little bit about that book and where people can get it from?
Yeah, the Lean Muscle Diet, well, you can get it on Amazon and maybe some other book outlets that I'm not too familiar with. But it's mainly directed towards the lay public, as well. And you know, I've gotten a surprisingly consistent amount of feedback from the academics as well. They've told me that it's a good book for people to kind of get back in touch with the basics and with the fundamentals. And there's a lot of detail in the book with respect to putting diets together, but I would mainly want people to get the principles out of it. And so the point of the book was to put something out to the masses that wasn't based in gimmickry or special magic foods or special magical timing of those magic foods and, you know, things like that. A book that it lists so many damn foods in there. I mean, it's kind of the opposite of a book that gives you an avoid list.
Yeah.
This gives you way too many foods to eat list. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's kind of the opposite. And so yeah, I gotta give my co-author Lou Schuler credit for making that book really easy to read. It was really interesting because the way that we made the book is that I sent him. He wrote his sections. I sent him my sections. He rewrote my sections. So yeah, he did most of the work on the book. So we're happy with it.
So yeah, it's a great book. It's certainly educational and it's easy to easy enough for the average layperson to follow as well. Don't have to be a coach to get it and understand it. So it's really good.
Thank you.
So what we'll do is we'll also link your website to the bottom of this video, and now I guess that'll be it from me. I'm going to close off and leave you guys to close this one off. What was the name that you gave my sponsored athlete?
The Phenom.
The Phenom. I love it.
The Phenom, baby.
Yeah.
Booyah.
Yeah.
There it is.
That's what's up.
Thank you. Thanks, Alan. Enjoy the rest of your trip.
Thank you so much,
Thanks,
guys. Well, thank you all for tuning in, and want to give a couple of plugs here. First, a big shout out to Athletic IQ, and as a coaching company, you know, they get my endorsement because they're science-based, evidence-based. They're not guru and BS-based, so that's a very rare thing in the industry. And another plug for my monthly research review, so that's AARR, Alan Aragon's research review, and you can get to that by just going to my website, alanaragon.com, and looking at the top menu, and you can just look into it right there. And yeah, that's my baby, my best work. So that's it.